This is the reason why we dropped here to the downside. Really important that Bitcoin keeps holding on, and this will only change breaking $65,000. Bitcoin dropped massively to the downside, lower than what we expected, and I will show you today the exact reason why we dropped as low as we did and why this is a massive bear trap. Let's go. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in here once again. I'm still a little bit sick, so excuse me if I start coughing again. I directly want to jump in what caused this big drop in Bitcoin that we should have, if we would have paid better attention, see this actually coming. And for that we are here on CoinGlass, and what I want to show you, let me see which color is this, okay good, is how the Bitcoin price was reacting here acting in this area up here, and at the same time I want you to pay attention to the spot bits down here. And what can you see here immediately? Bitcoin was trying to hold on between $63,500 all the way up to $65,200. That was the level that we tried to hold on, while at the same time huge quantities of Bitcoins were sold on spot. And these quantities over time until yesterday at some point were increasing and led to that Bitcoin gave in and broke then to the downside when we got here, basically from that here, that bearish engulfing down here. Once we got that in the volume, that led to this sharp drop also here in the Bitcoin price, brought us all the way down to $58,000, a little bit lower, like $57,800 was, I think, more or less the price that we went down to yesterday. And really interestingly, at the same time, the open interest did not really move a lot. It only started moving when Bitcoin had here the sharp drop to the downside, and then of course the longs that were in the market that have built up in this time frame here for that period got punished, got liquidated. That's why we got here that small flush. Then leverage was building up a little bit again and then got flushed again with that higher low compared to this local lower low. And now leverage is slightly building up again on the long side. So this is the reason why we dropped here to the downside. Over the last 4 days, there must have been some entities that thought it's a good idea to sell Bitcoin at these prices, which is actually quite stupid. So maybe I should have a look later if that was actually the US or another big entity. Mt. Gox, actually Celsius needed to redistribute $2.5 million. That was yesterday announced. I did not have a deep look into it, but that could have been the reason. If they paid that money already and distributed it. So that could have been the reason that all Celsius creditors that got their coins back, $2.5 billion in total, which was not only Bitcoin, but that could have been a huge chunk that could have led to this sharp drop to the downside here. The DXY is bouncing off that support level that we were talking about yesterday. That is of course not what we want to see, but there is also some light at the end of the tunnel, guys, because in a couple of hours we will get the earnings report of Nvidia, and I can tell you, if we get a highly positive anticipated earnings report of Nvidia, many AI related altcoins will bounce to the upside, and that will also include Bitcoin. And I'm going to show you the exact level that we are going up to if we are getting a positive earnings report from Nvidia, and that will also lead to that the DXY will start to decline here and most likely break finally here the 100.5 points level, flip this into resistance, and we are going to get then continuation to the downside. When we're looking then directly at Bitcoin at the BLX chart here with our logarithmic growth curve and the broadening wedge fractal, here really important that Bitcoin keeps holding on to the $59,600 level. So we are on Current spot market price is slightly above that. We are around 60, I think. So we are technically above that. As long as we're closing the weekly above that level, we should be fine. And also getting here on the higher time frames a bounce in direction of $67,800. Once we're breaking out of that, the sky is the limit, more or less. So we are going to break then into a new all-time high really quickly, in my opinion. Also here you see current prices, spot 60,000, like I said, $60,022. I think the most important thing that we need to look at is that we are closing this week's current candle above $61,600 because of the 22 moving average here on the weekly chart. If we can do that, then everything is set for a higher move here into that resistance of $69,000, into that downward sloping trend line that we are seeing here. And also the stochastic RSI, the trend line, the blue one, is not in a really good angle right now. When you look at it, it looks more like that it wants to roll over and turn this buy signal that we got from this week's current candle into a fake out and give us another sell signal. So that's not what we want to see. If we can reclaim here the 22 moving average, the angle should also shift more into a more aggressive angle to the upside, and that is what we need to be looking out for. So if we close this week's candle below the 22 moving average, be ready that we might retest here one more time the $57,000-$58,000 area next week, and only then finally get a move to the upside. Here on the daily chart, also the only level that we need to look at is the 200 moving average, a reclaim of that 200 moving average here at 61,000 is basically $62,000. That is the most important level here on the daily chart to reclaim, to keep the trajectory for early next week, to get here our golden cross. If we are not reclaiming this here in the next 48 to 72 hours, or getting rejected by trying to reclaim it, then be also aware that we could extend for another week before we are actually the golden cross. Also something that I want to mention here. A lot of people underestimate that we not only have a price capitulation in Bitcoin, but also a time capitulation. So we got here already our price capitulation. And how do these capitulations actually occur? Really simple. Price capitulation happens when prices chop for a really long time sideways and are not kind of moving in either direction. So we had here this channel that we were in, that range here that we hold on for a long time, and people got bored in this time. So we are in this range now for almost 6 months, so which is a long time. So, and that just starts boring people, and then people start to capitulate and say, hey, this is all a scam. F that, I don't want to be involved anymore. This is not moving at all. It will never break $70,000 again. We will not go into new all-time highs. I'm out. So these paper hands leave then, and when a lot of them at the same time are leaving, you get price capitulation. At the same time, there is a time capitulation factor. The time capitulation does not mean that we need to get another flush, but time capitulation means that we are right now in a period that basically got started by the price capitulation and could extend as far as a whole month, more or less, or slightly over a month, up to 6 weeks. And in this time, you are going to see price just chopping around and also, again, not doing a lot. And this will only change once we're breaking $65,000 and flip this into support. Once we are doing this, the time capitulation will most likely also be over, and then we can get ready for way higher moves fairly quickly for Bitcoin. So we are currently in that time capitulation phase where people again get bored because Bitcoin is not doing anything really, and are just sitting on their hands and don't know what to do, or getting chopped up in the price action. And that's something that I just wanted to point out, that we are currently in that phase of time capitulation. That move here to the downside was most likely also slightly attributed to that. But we should not forget, as soon as we reclaim the $62,000 level, that we are here on our way to get our golden cross, and I think that golden cross will coincide with the end of that capitulation phase with continuation to the upside. Here on this daily chart also, we can clearly see that a move here to the downside did not really have a huge effect on the declining overall volume that we are seeing here. You see here on this big move to the downside, where we came all the way down here to $53,000, there we had a huge spike. Afterwards, we had not any candle getting at least to here, this kind of level. That's why I take this candle here as an outlier and are not accounting this in this downward sloping trend here for the overall volume. So you can also clearly see that there's a baseline. The baseline is more or less here. So that is the baseline for volume. If you see a green volume candle spiking above this and breaking at the same time this downward sloping trend, then you know, okay, now there is a sustainable big breakout happening in Bitcoin, and that might be, at least for spot buyers, a really good entry. Below, besides the fact that, of course, at current prices is definitely also a good opportunity to get in. So, but when we have declining volume, you should remember there is a bigger move coming. That bigger move can go to either side. Nobody knows in which direction it goes, but based on what I see right now, with everything that is going on and that I'm factoring in, I expect here a big bullish breakout, and that will be the end of the current bear trap scenario. On the 1 hourly chart, I warned you guys yesterday that if we are not able to break above that downward sloping resistance line here, then we should get ready to come at least, and that's what I said at least, come down to fill this imbalance candle here, which we did, and from there we basically got immediately a big flush to the downside. So now we are trying to reclaim the EMA ribbon. We are at the lower end of it. Here we need a break at least to $61,000 and hold that level to see continuation on the lower time frames to the upside. And of course also here we have multiple imbalance areas once again on the chart. So one just got filled earlier here, and that was here, that a really small one, and then we have the bigger one coming from here to here, and that should bring us all the way back up to $61,800 once that gets filled. And now the only question is, how long do we need to wait for that? So I give it, like I said, between now and 72 hours, then we are back at $61,800. If you are looking currently for an entry, if you missed to buy all the way, let's say here, then I would definitely wait for a break of $61,000 would be the level that I would be looking at to long from. Or if we get a retest of $59,650, that would be another level that I would be looking at for open along. And I would trade this into the $64,000 area. Why would I trade this into $64,000? I will show you in a moment, guys. You see here another really important reason why I would be wait for a reclaim of $61,000 is here the VPVR on the MDX algo indicator, because here's the point of control in yellow. We need to reclaim this, also the mid-range of this downwards parallel sloping channel. Here also on the 12 hourly chart, we're about to bottom out on a stochastic RSI. The RSI is pointing already sharply to the upside. The MACD printing small red candles here, not really super bearish ones, even though it is visualizing some selling pressure is still going on here. But this looks to me like that we are close to potentially bottoming out here. Confirmation will come in once we're breaking above the $61,000 level and are able to hold this. So here also, remember guys, we had pointed out that scenario that we will come somewhere down here into these levels here before we get then a sharp move in direction of $67,000. $64,000 level as my take profit area. Really simple. Let's say we get a small pullback back here into that area, and I would set up the trade somewhat something like this here. Now you see there is a 7.4 5% profit on that trade that we can potentially make here against a 1.87% stop loss. So here I would potentially go in 25x. You can risk a little bit more on a trade like that if we would get here one smaller pullback. And remember, otherwise we enter a little bit higher. So, but then of course we also need to adjust our risk. So let's say I would enter from here actually 60,400 more or less. So, and then still 6% to the upside, 2% to the downside. So here I would not enter with 20x anymore. Here I would do 15 approximately. So which will still give me almost, a little bit more than 90% to the upside against 30% stop loss approximately. So why would I do that? Because we have a lot of liquidity sitting now above us. We have tapped liquidity that a lot of people thought will not get tapped anymore, and we bounced off here off the golden ratio down here, which is telling us that there was some untapped liquidity below us, but also that there's strong support coming from that golden pocket, from that golden ratio down here, and that we are most likely not going to tap this again. So now, once again, here on the 4-hourly chart, we need to reclaim the 200 moving average, the same like on the daily, to get continuation to the upside, and also to get above the EMA ribbon here. We don't want that the EMA ribbon flips here for a longer period of time back into a downtrend and gives us resistance on the way back up. But like I said, the earnings report of Nvidia is coming out fairly soon, and that could change a lot here if it's positive and they have actually a better earning report than the previous one. So then here on the liquidation levels, like I said, here is some late shorters that are sitting up here at the $64,000 area. That is a massively untapped liquidity that is sitting here, and that is right now acting as a magnet for the price to come up here. Also, like I said, in the next 72 hours-ish, approximately. And you see this also here on this 4-hourly chart on the MDX algo gradient and on the reactor indicator. Here you have multiple bullish warning signs that price is ready to go back to the upside. So if you would have taken from here the short, then also here multiple take profit points signals were already given. And you see here that we tapped into a huge demand area from where we bounced off, and now the big untapped supply area here, funny enough, it's sitting at $64,000 all the way up to $65,000. So this is the area that is now untapped, hence why it makes a lot of sense with all the confluence that we have, that price is now going here over the next couple of days into the $64,000, $65,000 area to tap this liquidity, take it out, most likely pull back a little bit, consolidate, and then we get the break above that level. We are going into the liquidation heat map just to show you guys. Here you also see we have taken out more or less all the liquidity that was sitting below us, that was built up over the last 3 days from all these longs that were more or less on low leverage, and now there's only upside liquidity. And we have seen this over and over again. When we have upside liquidity and all the downside liquidity was already taken out, there is only one way for the price to go. Hence why I'm telling you, don't fall for this bear trap at current prices and believe that we will go now again under $60,000 and stay there for a couple of weeks. That's not going to happen, guys. Just want you to be aware of that. And if you want to take any of these trades that I just pointed out, guys, then and you don't have any money, at least get $10 for free here on ZoomX just for signing up, guys. Go to the reward center and claim the $10. And if you want to 5x your money without actually risking your money, then deposit $100 on ZoomX and stand a chance to win $500 here. I will tomorrow give away $500, so make sure that you definitely watch tomorrow's episode. And then on Saturday, Sunday, I will give away the other $500. So you stand a chance twice this week to win $500 by just depositing $100, but you need to sign up with the link in the description to be eligible for that. And then when we're looking at the total free market cap, so we have lost the $587 billion level, but also here I see a reversal incoming with that current green candle here on the daily chart. So expect continuation by tomorrow and breaking back above here the $50 $587 billion level. This, of course, can also happen today already. Like I said, we are waiting for the earnings report, and based on that, we could already reclaim this and potentially close today above that level. The Bitcoin dominance started to drop here slightly to the downside, but also bounced off the 57.15% level. That is the level that we need to break currently to the downside to get continuation. As long as we are bouncing off of that, and as long as Bitcoin is potentially going above $62,000, expect also the dominance to go a little bit higher before we finally get a bigger reversal here to the downside, which does not mean that altcoins cannot move, but against Bitcoin they will have a hard time. Also, Ethereum went a little bit lower than we expected. Remember I said that I expect this worst case to drop to like $2,600 because here was that VPVR cluster that should have given us some sort of support, which did not give us any kind of support here on the move to the downside. But the $2,400 level saved us here once again. Otherwise, we would have dropped way lower. So from here we got our bounce. Now we have again the same old story that we need to reclaim this really key level on the VPVR, that cluster from 2,500 to 2,690, and hold this level. Only if we manage to close a daily candle above that, we're going to get continuation in direction of $3,000. So, but it gives you an opportunity to open here a long position at more or less current prices. If we can close this 12-hourly candle in 20 minutes as it is and get another green candle starting out, then I would consider entering here and trade this at least to $2,700, which is more or less a 10% move to the upside. Solana also moved a little bit lower than what we expected, but this is absolutely fine because you should not be here in that secondary. So this is right now, again, resistance on our way to the upside, but here a lot of bullish indications on the horizon. On the 4-hourly chart, we are already seeing selling pressure leaving here on the MACD. The RSI is bullish, pointing to the upside. Stochastic gives us here a buy signal, also coming back to the upside after being heavily oversold here since yesterday. Yeah, basically over 24 hours, I think 30 hours we were here oversold. Now you just need to wait for a reclaim of the $150 level, which is 2%. So we can wait for roughly 2% and 1.5% actually. So you can wait for 1.5% and miss out on 1.5%. And another factor that I would be looking at is that we are breaking here this downward sloping trend. So once we're breaking this downward sloping trend and going above $150 and you get like a 30-minute candle close above both, that is where I would enter for a trade into the $176 level. Then another coin that is heavily on my radar right now is Telegram, because also Telegram has some news coming out today. At some point in the next 3 hours, there will be coming an announcement from the French authorities if they're actually incarcerating Pavel Durov for the accusations that they brought forward against him until he will be heard in court for that, for all the accusations that they made against him. So the judge had since Saturday 96 hours to make a decision to either let him go or to put him into prison, into jail actually. And these 96 hours are running out technically tonight, some point around midnight, but there is no judge available at midnight, so they have to do it basically during opening hours of the court, and the opening hours are until 4:30 in France, and then everybody's leaving at 4:30. So that's why his case needs to be heard until 4:30 Paris time, local time, and that means in the next 3 hours we are going to know what's going to happen with him. A lot of people are speculating that he will not be freed and they are actually putting him into prison or jail, whatever you want to call it. If they do so, it would not be the end of the world, and let me explain you why. I was living a long time in Paris, and many of you guys know that. I was living 7 years in Paris. I know how the justice system works over there. I knew when he was arrested that they can hold him up to 96 hours. I knew that they are not immediately going to release him and bring him in front of a judge to hear his case, because they kind of like to fuck around with you, you know. So that's why they wait until the last minute to do this, just to make you sweat, you know, and potentially say something to investigators which you should not say, and kind of stuff like that, you know. I can also tell you he will be treated really, really well. I had one encounter myself a long time ago where I had to go to the police, and also where somebody called the police on me. And I can tell you, the French police, when they arrest, so to speak, foreigner, they are really, really nice. They brought me to their office. I was sitting there. They brought me food, whatever I wanted. I told them, hey, I have money, you know, so take it from my wallet. Can I have McDonald's? Can I have Burger King? Can I have pizza? They asked me what I wanted. They brought me whatever I wanted, you know, so during interrogation, of course, you know. So it is not the worst place, you know, when it comes to prison or to jail or to be detained in the world, you know. So it's really not that bad. So I'm quite sure, besides the fact that he needs to sleep in a cell, that he is treated really, really well over there. So, but this will of course change when he has to go to jail or to prison, which we're going to know later today. So after that, after the interrogation is done and they bring him in front of a judge, then the judge has to make a decision. Do I let you go because I think it's all nonsense and you're not a flight risk, or do I give you a bracelet, and that's what on your feet ankle, an ankle bracelet, and I put you under house arrest, and you have to show up 2, 3, 4 times per day at the police station and sign into a book that you're still here, or do I not take the risk because you're a flight risk, and I don't give me that headache that you maybe cut off the ankle and go in and get to the airport and disappear with your private jet to Russia or wherever, and I put you in a jail cell. So these are the 3 options that the judge has today. And after that, let's say he puts him into prison until his case gets heard, then he has every 2 weeks the right to appeal the decision and to be released. That's also different in many other countries. There you can do it like once a month, every 3 months, every 6 months. But in France, if I'm not mistaken, it might be even weekly. I'm not 100% sure anymore because this is like over 10 years ago. But I think it's twice a month you can apply to be heard again in front of the court to be released. So, and even if he gets not released today, he will not be stuck there for a really, really long time, because you see what's going on Twitter, you know. So it's a lot of nonsense in my opinion, you know. So otherwise you have to arrest me because I bought a knife, you know. I bought a knife, and maybe my neighbor asked me to borrow this knife and tomorrow killed somebody, you know. But he told me he wants to cook with it, but it's my knife, you know, and now I should go to prison because it was my knife. It doesn't make a lot of sense, guys. You know, it's the same with Telegram. He only provided a platform. What people do on the platform is their responsibility. It's not his responsibility to a certain extent. I want to mention that, you know, to a certain extent. He cannot monitor 1 billion people on his platform and moderate the content in a way that how governments basically want that, you know. So I understand where he's coming from with that. And it makes no sense. You know, it really makes no sense. And I think, even though people think there's a low probability that he gets released today, I think he is going to get released today because, like I said, I know the justice system. And that's why I believe that we are going to get a nice pop here to the upside, getting now back to price action here. We are also seeing here on the stochastic RSI from the technicals a potential print of a buy signal. The RSI is going to the upside, the MACD is bullish, and we have here also a bullish divergence that has not played out yet with RSI going up, price going down. That divergence will only play out once we are breaking here the 0.5 level on the Fibonacci retracement levels at $5.80, while we are right now getting rejected from the 0.38 here on the Fibonacci retracement. So once we are breaking above that, that should ignite the bullish divergence and a pop into that supply area, which will also act as resistance, most likely getting a small rejection from there and then continuation. If he is released today, you're going to see here a 10, 20, 30% move to the upside, most likely. if he would get released today. But I will also warn you here, if he is not getting released, we could get one more drop to the downside, and that will give you a huge buying opportunity, and that will be most likely into this cluster down here. So this could go here into this underlying cluster all the way down to $4.83. So what I would do, if you want to trade Telegram, set multiple limit orders, buy limit orders from $5.10, then at $5, $4.90, $4.85, and then $4.80. So here, every time 20% of the amount that you want to allocate. And no matter how low we actually go, you're going to get filled if he's not getting released today. And then you can trade this continuation to the upside. But from a technical perspective, a lot of things are lining up here for continuation to the upside. Here also the higher time frames, massive bullish candle here on the 12-hourly chart. Also the daily chart is looking similar, which is telling me that there is, from a technical perspective, nothing stopping us from going higher. But like I said, this can change with the news coming out later. Then some other altcoins that you should definitely have on your radar right now is here Rune. Rune more or less reclaimed everything that we lost here on the way to the downside. Here a safe entry. Technically, current levels are not bad to enter here at $4.08. I might open here in a moment actually a trade on Rune. All the way up to $5.23. Here, if you want to be a little bit more on the safer side, wait for a reclaim of $4.17 above the 50 moving average, just for confirmation that the golden cross here is still fully intact and playing out. But overall, the indicators are extremely bullish here. Look at this stochastic RSI, MACD about to soon flip bullish. The sharp angle on the RSI here to the upside. So this is really bullish here, and might be one of the strong coins overall for today. And guys, if you don't have any money and you need money to trade these coins, then deposit $100 on Bybit and claim your $500 free airdrop position here, and you can trade any of these coins mentioned here. Another strong coin here today is also Phantom, so you could technically go and trade Phantom with $500 by depositing just $100, and you don't need to risk that $100. You only need to deposit it to get the $500 position, and then you can withdraw your $100 again. So just that you know, use the link in the description below. You have 3 weeks to still claim that position, and then it's expiring. So make use of that while you can. Another strong coin here is NIA, again on the MDX algo gradient. We see also that we have completely cooled down in terms of price action here. Also, I'm waiting for a reclaim of the 50 moving average at $4.58. That will be my entry all the way up to $5.30. That is a 15.5% move here to the upside, and a little bit past that supply zone that we are also seeing here with the help of the MDX algo. Once we are reclaiming $5.58, I don't believe that we will come down here again for quite a while, and most likely get over the next couple of weeks here move into $6 and $7 once again. So also here, nice trade setup if you want to take it, and you see the indicators are also in alignment like most of the other coins here. Stochastic RSI giving a buy signal, strong RSI to the upside, and slowing down. The other one is Helium. Helium is already moving away here, insane. Remember, I told you yesterday that if we're not coming down back here to $6.38, that a good level to enter would be here at that downward sloping trend line that we now definitely have broken, and that we are above the 50 moving average. So right now would be a good moment to enter. You are not too late for this trade, but of course we need to adjust now if you enter here a little bit everything what we are seeing. So you would still make potentially 17% here to the upside with a free, let it be a 4% stop loss. So it's still a good trade. If you want to be super safe, then you wait here for that break of this downward sloping trend line here, that resistance at also $6.95. So we are like 2 cents away from it. Most likely when you see in this video, we are already above that. As long as we are not above like $7, let it be 20, I would consider entering this for a move here into $8.11. And guys, that's it already for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure that you smash up the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and I see you with more profits tomorrow.